Hello, everybody, and welcome to my playthrough of Legends of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Now, this is the first episode, and I wanted to focus on the tutorial level of the game. Little did I know that that would be a 6-hour adventure. That was 6 hours that I enjoyed, I found exciting, and I loved, because the one thing this game excels in is keeping things familiar, yet also making you feel just on the seat of your chair, on the tip of your toes, just feeling unnerved because of the things that are different in the worldview of things. The gameplay is the same, and it's amazing. So anyway, 6 hours is a little bit too much for YouTube, so I wanted to whittle this down to a smaller, more manageable length. So hopefully it works out. I hope you enjoy it. And I really didn't want to be doing this much work when I could be playing. I'm obsessed already, and I can't wait to dive in again. So, sorry folks, you're going to be seeing more episodes. But those episodes won't be as long or crazy as this. And we're kicking things off with the opening playable cinematic of the game. So here we go. When we start, Link and Zelda, who now has a very stylish and sensible haircut, are dungeon crawling under Hyrule Castle. They are exploring the catacombs and tunnels under Hyrule Castle to investigate a black fog that has been making people sick. After finding some ancient runes on discarded columns and other bits of ruins here and there inside the tunnel network, they discover a statue of a very tall individual, which they are calling the Zonai, which were godlike people from the sky.
Look at these murals.
After pondering this discovery, Zelda finds it odd that the ruins of these sky-dwelling Zonai would be under Hyrule Castle. But quickly, they discover a chamber that is a house of a large mural that depicts the legend of the royal family of Hyrule. And surprisingly, that the Zonai and the Hyrulean royal family had joined together and hooked up to make Hyrule the place it is today. But this Age of Enlightenment wasn't to last long, because, as usual, it being a Legend of Zelda game, there is a large-scale war between the forces of evil and the forces of good. Now, of course, there are depictions of Ganondorf within the mural, but it seems to show a new big baddie on the horizon, the Demon King. After taking some pictures with her new and improved handy-dandy Sheikah Slate, Zelda and Link decide to venture further into the dungeons, catacombs, and tunnels to see what else they can find. And Zelda and Link definitely do find something as they happen upon this colorful, swirling vortex of magical energy. From this point, I'm going to let the cinematic play out because it is just glorious, and you get hit with one of the most epic title cards of all time. So sit back and enjoy.
The sword that seals the darkness. The blade that shatters so easily against my power cannot save you from me. Zelda. You who carries that fragile sword. A Link. Raru placed his faith in you. And that was all you could do.
How do you know our names?
Link, finally you wake. I've heard a great deal about you from Zelda. Your wounds were severe. I am relieved to see you escape death. Your arm, however, was beyond saving. I had to replace it, lest the injury endanger you further.
After his epic crash landing, Link finds himself in unfamiliar surroundings. He discovers that there are some robots that are trying to kill him, while some that kind of look like Johnny Five are here to help him. One even has a special delivery for him from Zelda herself. This very helpful robot even tells Link that he needs to go to the Temple of Time to try to find anything that he can about Zelda. Once reaching the Temple of Time and scaling its decrepit staircase, Link soon finds out that it's no dice. He is not powerful enough to open the door. But a ghostly benefactor has appeared to kind of show him the way. I'm going to let this play out because it kind of gives some good backstory.
That door will open only to those with sufficient power. I'm sorry. I did not intend to startle you. It was I that spoke to you earlier. That arm originally belonged to me. I am Raru. Forgive me for appearing to you in this manner. Unfortunately, I no longer have a physical form. In any case, that arm should allow you to open this door. It seems to have lost the power to do so. You might be able to restore it, but you would need to enter a place filled with sacred light. Of course. Why not visit the shrines on this island? The shrines. Yes, I am sure they are the key.
Well, it looks like we're back on shrine hunts again. But that's okay. These shrines aren't as crazy as the ones that were in Breath of the Wild so far, but I'm just going to skip ahead and show you what goodies I obtained. The first ability you get is Ultra Hand. Now, Ultra Hand is telekinesis. It allows you to grab things and move them with just the power of your hand. Now, it has limited distance, of course, but one of the cool things is you can actually use it to bond things together, which in this little clip you see Link bonding two planks together to make a larger bridge. And it's a really awesome feat, and it's used so much and has so many awesome benefits that we will see down the road. I feel like I need to say, because it's pretty evident in this little scene, that it's really hard to move this stuff around once you're in the Ultra Hand mode. And yeah, it just takes a lot of getting used to, but yeah, you can figure your way around it and still have a good time. One more thing about Ultra Hand before we get to our next shrine. It allows you to do awesome gadgets like this zip line platform. You will have so much fun with all the little mechanics and innovations of stuff like this with this game. And as usual, this franchise's surprise but not surprised moment is you find out that one shrine is not enough to have the power to open the door. So you need to go to 2 additional shrines, which are spread out all across the Sky Islands. And believe me, that's where the 5 more hours of playtime came from. Just traversing this area, going through the wilds, and getting to these shrines. I am not complaining because it was awesome. The journey to the second shrine was also filled with learning moments. You run across more of the good worker robots who teach you things like the importance of wood, hunting, and of course, sweet, sweet cooking. And check out this sweet raft I made. Remember how hard these were to control in Breath of the Wild? Yeah, honestly, you haven't seen anything yet with the capabilities of this Ultra Hand and some of the other things that you get, and just the wild stuff you can make. It's really cool and a great addition to this game franchise.
2 hours later.
Okay, here we are finally at the second shrine. And this is a real fun one because this ability, yeah, this is something really special. So let's check it out. The next ability is called Fuse, and what you do with it is fuse 2 objects together. In this clip, you see that Link is fusing his sword with this boulder, and in doing that, it makes it a much stronger weapon and one that deals different damage. It's actually now dealing like a blunt damage, which is really good for mining and things like that. On paper, this seems wacky as hell. I mean, when we first saw it dropped a month ago or whatever, yeah, a lot of people were naysayers about it. I had an open mind, and I'm glad I did, because this is a fun and great part that they have added to the franchise, and I'm super psyched to see if this ability grows over time like the abilities did in Breath of the Wild and what kind of stuff you can do. And by the way, I don't have video footage of it, but my son has fused some of the wackiest things, and it just, yeah, it makes it a whole new game, and it's really fun. One of the things we'll also show super quick is you can fuse choo-choo jellies and different plants to arrows and give arrows different abilities like fire damage, explosions, things like that. So again, a really neat aspect of the weapon system in this game, and I love it. At the end of the shrine, you actually encounter your first boss battle, if you will. You are taking on a robot that can do pretty much the same things you can with fusing. And he's pretty tough. I mean, because Link really doesn't have that high of stats, doesn't really have armor, so it was a pretty challenging fight, which is really cool because instead of it being like, infuriatingly hard, it was really fun. And I loved setting the leaves on fire under him and watching his health tick down. And yeah, it was just one of those little things that I really dug. When I leave the shrine, the first thing I see is one of those friendly worker robots. So I go up and talk to him. He presents to me energy cells, which are essentially batteries to help, fuel your latest and craziest inventions using the Ultra Hand. It's pretty cool, and I can see that on the belt holder there are plenty of open slots, so I can't wait to get more batteries and just make some really awesome and crazy inventions. After I completed the first shrine, I took a break to show you a raft that I was making. Now, after the second shrine, I am making another raft, and believe me, this isn't a theme or anything. This is to show the new energy cells. So they drop you in front of a river and say, hey, you got to get across it, and you don't have enough endurance to swim it. So what's really cool is, it's made with logs like the other raft, only this time instead of a sail, you have a fan that helps propel your raft through the water. And this is powered by those energy cells. So I have to be honest, I got this boat stuck in the mountainside, and I had to do some quick thinking to help get it unlodged because there were no extra supplies. It's not like I could make another raft. So yeah, thank goodness for the Ultra Hand because it really came in handy. Now, I couldn't reach it from the shore, so I had to bring a platform from a little bit a ways over to help me get it. So yeah, I was able to make it to the other side of the river and didn't drown. So hey, bonus points for that. This leg of the journey, finding the third shrine, is by far the most challenging and time-consuming of this adventure. And they take you from one end of the map to the other to find this shrine. But sprinkled along the way are things like this that are used to teach you about fusing the Ultra Hand, energy cells, things like that. As much as the first leg after the first shrine was about, being a warrior and your wilderness training, this is all about your abilities and technology. And it's a really fun way to utilize that and to teach you by setting up really neat things like this. Shortly after all of our fun that we were having with the railcar roller coasters, the game decides to throw its first world boss at us. And this thing was quite challenging. Now, the footage I'm showing is actually when I figured it all out and beat it. But there were so many attempts before this, so many deaths. And that's not even taking into account that he's on a floating island, so all the times I fell. And, at the end of the day, it was really fun. It reminded me of, when you first took on and beat a Stone Tullus in Breath of the Wild. It kind of has that same feeling to it, so I really dig it. It's kind of like Stone Tullus 2.0. It was like I was saying that this portion of the journey to the third shrine is by far the most challenging, and it's also the most off-putting, not in a bad way. Just the fact of Breath of the Wild was a game that my family and I had beaten over a dozen times. So there is a familiarity with this Link in this Hyrule that they did a really good job of just, Yeah, cranking it up, making you feel uneasy, just you had no idea what's coming next. And I think this leg of the journey just really hit that home.
2 hours later.
After a long and dangerous journey up a frozen mountainside, living off of a steady diet of red peppered infused meals so you don't die from exposure, Link has finally made it to the third shrine. Out of all of the abilities that were revealed about a month ago with the final trailer, Ascend was the ability that, yeah, had me questioning why. I know this doesn't make sense, but it didn't seem to fit with The Legend of Zelda. I know that's really weird because it's a high adventure game, high fantasy, so anything should go, right? Well, anyway, it just felt weird to me. And I have to say, I am totally wrong. It's a really neat little ability, and I can't wait to find more uses for it out in the real world because within the basis of the tutorial area, it's the last thing you get, and you don't really get a chance to play with it too much. They give you a couple chances to, and that's pretty neat. But yeah, I can't wait to really try it out there. I know they say this is like a liquid based power, but yeah, I think he's more like taking on a ghost, form and shooting up into through solid objects, going all Kitty Pride with phasing and stuff. Now, it would be neat if you could use this through any type of wall, and maybe you can as it gets upgraded. I don't know, but it would be really fun to see. And yeah, this ended up being a pretty fun ability. With all three shrines finished, Link now has the power to return to the Temple of Time and open the doors and save Zelda. And what better way to get there than with this sweet ride? These wings, these awesome, like stone birds that just fly out of these chutes. They're kind of hard to control, but yeah, they got a lot of style, and that goes a long way. So let's head back to the Temple of Time and wrap this up. After all this time, after all of these trials and tribulations, all these deaths and rebirths, we have finally achieved the power we need to open the doors and save Zelda. This feels like it's been such a long time coming, and we are finally back to where we started for the most part. So let's open these doors and save the day. just as quickly as you feel the rush of triumph, it is dashed on the rocks, as Zelda is only a spirit that you get a fleeting glimpse of and a warm embrace that empowers you with a new ability called Recall before she ultimately disappears. Now, what Recall gives you is the ability to reverse time on one specific item that you choose. And a lot of the examples of this that I see are like machinery pieces, like in this little obstacle course. Okay, I know there's people out there that have probably gotten a heck of a lot further in the game than I have. Heck, there's probably people that have beaten it already just over one weekend. But I like to take my time. So I will say one theory that I have that may have been proven or debunked 100 times by now, and I'm not reading any of that. But my theory is, and I've had this from early on in the game, and I think this is just pieces of evidence of it with getting the recall power from Zelda, that either her or Link are displaced in time. I'm more assuming that it's Zelda because when Link does return to Hyrule proper, they're still the same characters, people know who he is, things like that. So I think Zelda is lost in time and we have to save her. Okay, I'm skipping over this little revelation that just happened, and believe me, it threw me for a loop, because this whole time they're talking about 3 shrines, 3 shrines, 3 shrines. Well, guess what? There's a 4th super secret shrine that you need to visit just so you can then sell those orbs that you have gotten to that angel statue idol thing, and they will bless upon you a new heart container so you are strong enough to open yet another door. What is with Link and his lack of strength in opening doors? That kind of ticks me off. I mean, another shrine, that's fun and all, but I mean, this has been 6 hours of just straight nose to the grindstone, just adventuring, and one more hurdle in the way was kind of like a dagger in my heart, especially when I knew I had to get this episode out and edit through 6 hours of junk. So hopefully this turns out good, and let's get back to the story. Okay, this 4th and final shrine in the tutorial area is kind of like a trial, if you will, for the recall power. It has just different feats that you need to accomplish by rewinding time, like these rafts, and there's actually a clock that you need to mess with the hands with. And I mean, it's pretty easy. I mean, it just getting used to the dynamics of it was a little hard, but in theory it's pretty easy. And yeah, with that you get another orb and you're able to return to the statue and get a heart container. So we are going to jump over to that and thankfully finish up probably the biggest editing jobs I have ever had to do. So see you back at the door.
see you have managed to open the door. You haven't fully recovered yet, but that is to be expected. You were almost beyond saving. By visiting the shrines and receiving their blessings, you have mitigated some of the corruption's effects. Though our time together has been brief, I am so happy that we finally met. You are exactly as Zelda said. I've done everything I can for her. Now it is up to you.
Link. Link. You must find me.
There are so few games out there that can make you feel such a sense of accomplishment just by completing the tutorial level. I know that's a very generalized way of saying what the opening of this game is, but that's how video games are. They give you a amount of time to get comfortable with controls, dynamics, the world, and this did it perfectly. I mean, it was downright beautiful. This tutorial had a little bit of everything to show off the new abilities, the new mechanics, the new invention system, and I mean, just the emotional story beats between Link and Zelda. I mean, this was only 6 hours, and just imagine how it started with them just going on a little dungeon crawl in their basement of their own castle to this. I mean, 6 hours, there's some video games out there that don't even last that long in its entirety. That was just the tutorial. And yes, of course, some of that time was me flubbing up, dying. There was a part I fell off one of the islands onto another island and had to make the journey back up again. Yeah, of course there's that stupid stuff, but still, this was just a very well thought out, well executed tutorial level, and I cannot wait to get to the game itself. Now, I had hoped to do some more playing and filming tonight, but yeah, finishing up this editing job just really, sucked up all of my free time. So I might do some playing, but we might be starting at a different location than where I am leaving you. So my playthroughs will just be, hey, let's just hang out and play for a little bit, opposed to let me show you how to play the game or how to get through things. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. Thanks for stopping by, and I'll see you next time. Keep being rad and stay dorky.